We're at the beginning of our afternoon for our fall November Zazenkai here. It's a beautiful day to sit. And we had a nice strong sitting this morning. Two people had to leave. I was able to talk with them and they both had a strong experience. And we have 4 new people joining us here for the afternoon. Welcome. I'm sure you feel the energy that's been cultivated already, during the course of the morning. So I wanted to appreciate the work that everybody did in the work practice period this morning. I don't know if everybody heard Susan announce as we got started that last weekend there was a formal Tibetan Buddhist funeral pyre ceremony that was done. So it's the ashes out there are human remains as well as the wood that they brought out to do the pyre. Maybe you felt it doing the work of cleaning up the backyard, but after Samu, I just passed Susan in the back in the kitchen and she just looked at me and her eyes went wide and she went, "Amazing." So all the wood stacking and moving and raking and seeds, some were on seeds and sweeping were transformative. Yeah, she just was amazed. So thank you for all of that wonderful work. What I want to talk about in the Dharma talk here is this choosing. I started the day today in my introductory remarks, encouraging everyone to notice, the thousands of choice points that we're at every day. And these choice points are the place where karma is created. We're about 3/4 of the way through our Ango period. It started mid-September and it ends in a few weeks with our Rohatsu session. The theme for our Ango is karma and crisis. Crisis being those moments where our choices have an outsized effect, and karma being what is created from our choices. So when you combine those two, you get the consequences of our choices are disproportionately impactful. So the karma is bigger on either both the positive and the negative sides in times of crisis or in moments of crisis. So this is our point of practice, our field of practice, for our Ango period here. So I wanted to point you towards the reality of how you have so many, we all have so many moments of choice, specifically with respect to where we put our attention. Okay? This is something that nobody can take from you, although there's a lot of forces out there that are trying to grab your attention, but they can't disempower you from applying, your attention. And it's not only where you put your attention, but it's the quality of attention that you bring. Right? And bring that attention to whatever. And then there's the depth. How much you stay with it. Right? How continuously you maintain that attention. How you open up that field of attention to include, your body and your mind. All 6 senses. All 6 of your senses are attending to what's coming in through whatever it is you're paying attention to. So you're picking up on feelings, on intuitions, on thoughts. Okay? You're paying attention with a depth and an inclusiveness. So I want to appreciate this. And I want to look at the teaching of choosing, non-choosing. Choosing, non-choosing. Hsin Hsin Ming, Trust and Faith Mind, has this line. In fact, this is the first line in this translation. The great way is not difficult for those who do not pick and choose. All right, well, I'm a Zen teacher, so I've got to be contradictory, right? I've got to throw some paradoxes out. All right, I want you to be really attentive to your choices, and then I'm going to share this foundational Zen teaching that the great way is not difficult for those who do not pick and choose. Okay. So there's important matter to attend to here. What does Hsin Hsin mean, the third patriarch who wrote this, mean by those who do not pick and choose? So you shouldn't be doing this type of choosing, right? Well, this passage goes on. When preferences are cast aside, the way stands clear and undisguised. But even slight distinctions made set earth and heaven far apart. If you would clearly see the truth, discard opinions pro and con. To founder in dislike and like is nothing but the mind's disease, and not to see the way's deep truth disturbs the mind's essential peace. Okay, so in the first line, the great way is not difficult for those who don't pick and choose. This choosing is really preferences, okay? Choosing based on preferences. You're being driven by your preferences, right? So I'm going to make what I think is an important distinction between choosing based on preferences versus choosing based on intention. Right? It's a really key point here. This goes on. The way is perfect like vast space where there's no lack and no excess. Our choice to choose and to reject prevents our seeing the simple truth. Both striving for the outer world as well as for the inner void condemn us to entangled lives, just calmly see that all is one and by themselves false views will go. Okay. Our choice to choose and to reject prevents our seeing this simple truth. So now we're really getting deep, right? There's a choice to make a preferential choice. We're choosing to choose based on our preferences. We're choosing to reject. We're choosing to conditionally accept. That's a choice. That's a choice that's creating karma of a certain stripe. You could call it negative karma. I like to call it unwholesome karma. Right? You're creating separation. Right? In that choice to choose to accept this and not that, to reject this and not that. Okay. So we want to get to that root choosing that's happening. So you could say, we turn this around. We're choosing to choose and to reject. That's keeping us from the truth. So instead, what do we choose? We choose to not choose based on our preferences. We choose to not reject. We choose not to be driven by our preferences. We choose to accept everything. So, to me, that's choosing to practice. Choosing to put your attention on your practice. Because that's what this practice is. Radical openness, radical acceptance, unconditional love. Choose to practice this moment by moment. Nothing hinders your ability to do this in any given moment. Moomin Khan, case 19, ordinary mind is the way. Joshu asked Nansen, what is the Tao? What is the way? Nansen replied, ordinary mind is the way. Right there, that's kind of a beautiful koan right there. Ordinary mind is the way. But Joshu, being Joshu, continues with really great questions for his teacher, Nansen. Should I direct myself toward it or not? Should I direct myself toward it or not? You could say, should I choose to approach it? Nansen's answer is wonderful. If you try to direct yourself toward it, you go away from it. Mm-hmm. So in our, in the framework that we're talking about here, he's choosing based on his preference. Well, I want to accomplish the way, so I'm going to choose. So how do I do that? How do I get this thing I want, which is the way, this experience of the way? Do I direct myself towards it or not? Mm-hmm. So if you try to direct yourself towards it, you go away from it. Joshu keeps going. But if I don't try, how can I know the way? Yeah, we're nodding, right? It's like, yeah, we have this question too. Okay. Now this is important. Nansen replied, the way is not about knowing or not knowing. Knowing is delusion, not knowing is blankness. If you truly reach the genuine way, it is like vast space. Boundless, empty, and clear. You cannot force it one way or another. And this exchange produced Joshu's first big Kensho experience. Right there. Okay. The way is not about knowing or not knowing. Knowing is delusion, not knowing is blankness. Okay. I think this is really important to kind of feel these, right? The delusiveness of our mind maps, the knowingness, of our mind maps. We think we have it kind of figured out, you could say, what's going on, what the world's about, our filtered, knowledge-based understanding. It's delusional. Okay, it doesn't really capture the intricacy, the depth, the intimacy, the interconnectedness of reality. Okay, conceptual mind can't do that, so it's delusive. That kind of knowing is delusive. Okay, but there's also this kind of affliction, you could say, of a not knowing, which is just blankness. And I hope everyone here, recognizes this sort of sticky area, that can arise with this blankness. Okay, when we're sitting, we're not just blanking ourselves out. Right? Oh, I'm not thinking anything. Oh, it's all like this. It's like I don't feel anything. I'm numbed out. We can actually be drawn to this blankness in the way that we're drawn to our knowing and our understanding, right? So please be attentive, to that. And oftentimes there is as much of a choice to be blank as there is a choice to know and understand. All right? That's not practice. Practice is this middle way, neither knowing nor not knowing. It's kind of subtle, isn't it? Don't direct yourself towards it. Well, what are we doing here? What do you mean? I've got all this technique. We've got this whole framework of practice, right? Isn't that what we're doing, is pointing ourselves towards it? Well, I think the key point is, not there's this desire within Joshu. Do I direct myself towards it in order to attain it, in order to accomplish it, in order to realize it? That desire, that preference, right? That I want this, I want to get this, keeps you from it. Keeps you from it. Right? So that's why the forms of our Zen practice, they're actually very simple, but they're the intention has to be very simply and sincerely, just to be fully present with what is. Simply and sincerely. Yeah. So the choosing that is preference-based, not always so simple, not always so sincere, because it can be a secret, held preference. Kind of wrapped up in that can be actually, a lot of rejection and bypassing. I want to be this way because I just don't accept all these other qualities in myself. That's the problem. The things that we're keeping out. The things that we're keeping out, which are so often, our choices, our preferences, the preferential choices. Okay. But instead, it's choose to accept, choose to love, choose to be present, choose to not engage with the distractions and the speculations and the conceptualizations, choose to practice. Choose to practice. So you don't turn yourself to the way, direct yourself to the way. You choose to practice. Appears, you could say. Yeah, so this knowing is delusion, not knowing is blankness. And then I'm going to go back to those last two lines of Hsin Hsin Ming that I said. Both striving for the outer world as well as for the inner void condemn us to entangled lives. Knowing is delusion, not knowing is blankness. Striving after either of these condemn us to entangled lives. Just calmly see that all is one, and by themselves, false views will go. Very early in my practice, it was the first week-long retreat I did with Shishin Roshi. So it was 1996. We did it at a retreat center kind of place up in Rollinsville, up west of Boulder here. A long time ago, almost 30 years ago. I'd been studying the Hsin Hsin Ming. He brought that into our, to our practice, and this line really resonated with me. But it was a different translation of this line. It was, I'm forgetting. Be serene in the oneness of things, and erroneous views will disappear by themselves. That's the translation. Be serene in the oneness of things, and erroneous views will disappear by themselves. And I wrote that line down, and I had it on my pillow for the whole 7 days, and I just kept that. I like that better, actually, than this one. Just calmly see that all is one, and by themselves false views will go. This one's got the iambic pentameter, so it kind of fits nicely in the overall recitation. But be serene in the oneness of things, and by themselves, and erroneous views will disappear. Yeah. So there's a choice there, right? There's actually a choice there. Be serene. I choose to be serene in the oneness of things. Now we can immediately complicate it and stir it up. Where's the oneness of things? I gotta find the oneness of things. Oh, I'm so tired and my knee hurts so much there's no way I'm gonna be with the oneness of things like this. All these reasons why you can't make that choice. Be serene, accepting, warm-hearted, non-confrontational, non-adversarial, non-judgmental with all things. Can we do that? Of course. Nobody nodded. I'm a little concerned. Yeah, I'm going to ask again. Can we do this?
Yes.
Yeah. Choose. Make the choice. Make the choice to be serene, non-confrontational with everything arising in your experience right now. Fully accepting. Okay. So I hope this is helpful. Just encouragement for our practice, this wonderful, wonderful practice. It's so simple. It's not easy. But it's very accessible, and it's always available. That's the beauty of it. Every moment you have the ability to turn your mind to practice. Doesn't matter where you are. Every moment. And when we all do it together in an environment like this, so concentrated, so connected, so intimate, such a shared awakeness, that we're all cultivating together. It's so much easier to sit in a group like this. It's just the awake awareness just magnifies. Every little bit you contribute just like multiplies and then comes back and forth. So those of you online as well, we sense your presence, we feel you. I hope you're feeling us too. Yeah, this awake awareness expands across time and space. Yeah. So we have the rest of our afternoon, to enjoy our practice. So just keep turning your attention moment to moment to your practice, whatever it is. Okay, don't confuse yourself. Don't distract yourself. Don't complicate yourself, your practice. Don't create grandiose goals for your practice. Don't create any goals for your practice. Don't feel you need to change anything about yourself. Accept it totally.